Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Surbhi Sharma. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 14th of June. Indian Prime Minister talks tough on terrorism during SCO summit. US says steps by Pakistan against terror groups still reversible. And Sri Lankan Catholics resume prayers at restored church after bombings. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday, without naming Pakistan, raised the issue of state-sponsored terrorism at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Bishkek. He said that countries sponsoring, aiding and supporting terrorism must be held accountable.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO, met for a two-day summit in Kyrgyzstan's capital Bishkek on Friday. Addressing the plenary session of the SCO summit, Prime Minister Modi, in a veiled attack on Pakistan, said countries sponsoring, aiding and supporting terrorism must be held accountable. He reiterated India's support for Afghan-led peace process and highlighted the spirit and ideals of the SCO to strengthen cooperation in the fight against terrorism. The Indian Prime Minister also called on the SCO member states to cooperate under the SCO Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure or RATS against terrorism.
इस खतरे से निपटने के लिए सभी मानवतावादी ताकतों को अपने-अपने संकीर्ण दायरे से निकलकर एकजुट हो जाना चाहिए। आतंकवाद को प्रोत्साहन, समर्थन और वित्त प्रदान करने वाले राष्ट्रों को जिम्मेदार ठहराना जरूरी है।
Prime Minister Modi, along with the President of Kyrgyzstan, Sooronbay Jeenbekov, later jointly inaugurated India-Kyrgyz Business Forum. Both the leaders also addressed the forum and later held delegation-level talks to strengthen bilateral ties between the two nations. Kyrgyz President Jeenbekov is the current chair of the SCO Summit 2019.
Security forces gunned down two terrorists in a gunfight in Pulwama district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Friday. Officials said the slain terrorists were identified as members of Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Toiba terror group.
Two terrorists were neutralized by security forces in an encounter in Pulwama district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Friday. The encounter broke out after security forces had launched cordon and search operations in Avantipura town in Pulwama district upon specific inputs about the presence of terrorists in the area. The hiding terrorists opened fire on the search party. In the ensuing gunfight, the two terrorists were gunned down, officials said. This came 2 days after 5 security personnel lost their lives and one terrorist was gunned down in an exchange of fire on a busy road in Anantnag district of the province. The slain terrorist belonged to Pakistan-based Al-Umar Mujahideen terror group. India has long blamed neighbouring Pakistan of arming and infiltrating terrorists from across the border to spread unrest in Kashmir Valley. Pakistan, however, denies the allegations.
Moving on, senior US State Department official Alice Wells has said that steps taken by Pakistan so far against terror groups post the deadly Pulwama attack are reversible. She said the US has been urging Islamabad to take sustained actions against terrorists operating in the country.
Top US official Alice Wells on Thursday said that Pakistan has taken some important steps against terror groups post the Pulwama attack, but they are still reversible. Senior State Department official for South and Central Asian Affairs, Wells told a House Foreign Affairs subcommittee that terror organizations continue to pose a grave risk to international peace as long as they are able to operate freely in Pakistan. She said that Washington has been urging the Pakistani leadership to take sustained actions against terrorists operating on its soil.
But our relationship with Pakistan is broader than just Afghanistan. We are asking Islamabad to take sustained and irreversible actions against terrorists who threaten stability in the subcontinent. One such organization, Jaish-e-Mohammed, precipitated the India-Pakistan crisis in February, and we've made clear that there's no legitimate role for these non-state actors.
Wells further said that on a multilateral level, US succeeded on May 1st in listing Masood Azhar, the leader of Jaish-e-Mohammed or JEM, at the UN 1267 Sanctions Committee, an achievement 10 years in the making. Tensions have remained high between India and Pakistan since the February 14 attack claimed by JEM that killed at least 40 Indian security personnel in India's Jammu and Kashmir.
In news from Afghanistan, at least 9 people were killed and several others injured in a suicide bombing that targeted a security checkpost in Afghanistan's eastern Jalalabad city on Thursday. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack.
A suicide bomber on foot targeted a police vehicle in Jalalabad city of Afghanistan's eastern Nangarhar province on Thursday, killing at least 9 people, including civilians. Ataullah Khogiani, spokesperson for Governor of Nangarhar province, said the attacker set off his explosives as a police vehicle was passing from a residential area in the city. 5 civilians, including a child and 4 policemen, were killed and 12 more civilians and policemen were wounded, Khogiani said. Islamic State militants have carried a string of suicide bombings and attacks on government offices, schools and aid groups in recent years in Jalalabad.
دا وروره موږ ناسو دغلته لکه روزمره دغه غوندې بس یو درز وشو درز سره وروره چغې شوې هره خوا نه منډې شوې او ډزې شوې بس هر سړی د ډاره څوک داسې منډې چا داسې منډې وهلې او زخمیان او مړي او شهیدان هر څه پراته وو بس دغه مو ولیدله.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani condemned the suicide bombing and said terrorists cannot face the Afghan security forces on the battlefield, therefore they target Afghan civilians. Fighting and insurgent attacks have continued to take place across the country, despite best efforts by the government to curb them.
Moving on to news from Sri Lanka, scores of Catholics on Thursday gathered for prayers at a church which was recently restored after it was destroyed in the Easter Sunday bombings in April. More than 250 people were killed in the attacks.
Sri Lankan Catholics resumed prayers inside a bomb church on Thursday after it was restored post the Easter Sunday bombings which killed more than 250 people on the island. Hundreds of worshippers, including survivors and relatives of the victims, gathered at the St. Anthony's Shrine in the capital, Colombo. During the prayers, the Archbishop of Colombo called for peace on the multi-ethnic island that has also been shaken by anti-Muslim riots carried out in retribution for the bombings.
අපි තුන් දෙනාම මායි මාත්‍යයි බබයි තුන් දෙනාම ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා. ඒ තුන් දෙනාම වීසි වෙලා වැටුණා. ඒකෙන් පස්සේ ඊට පස්සේ සීයා ආවා මට. තුන් දෙනාම ඊට පස්සේ තුන් දෙනාම එකව කරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ මට කකුල බැරි වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ මාත්‍යවත් එක්කගෙන තුන් දෙනාම එකව කරගෙන මට කකුල අමාරු ආපු ඉන්න ට්‍රිවිල් එකක් ගෙන්නගෙන මාත්‍යා එතනින් අපි දෙන්නවත් දාගෙන ස්පිරිතාලට ගියා. එච්චරයි උනේ ඊට පස්සේ මට සීය නැති වුණා.
The April 21st attacks claimed by militant group Islamic State targeted 3 churches and 3 luxury hotels, shocking the country and shattering a decade of relative peace after the end of 25-year-long civil war. Authorities say the threat of more Islamist militant attacks has been contained and security services have dismantled most of the network linked to the Easter attacks.
India is planning to launch its own space station, Indian Space Agency Chief K. Sivan has said. The project will be an extension of the Gaganyaan mission, the country's maiden human space mission.
This mission
In one of the most ambitious projects, India is now planning to launch its own space station. The Indian Space Research Organisation or ISRO chief K. Sivan on Thursday said that India will soon have its separate space station. The project will be an extension of the Gaganyaan mission, the country's maiden human space mission. The space station is likely to weigh 20 tons, where the astronauts can live for 15 to 20 days. The ISRO chairperson said the space body is keen on joining the international community to reach the moon.
As a long-term plan, we are planning to have the space station by India, our own space station. Then subsequently, not only the space station we are going to stop it, we are going to join the international community for going to moon.
The announcements came a day after ISRO said Chandrayaan-2, India's second mission to the moon, would be launched on July 15th from Sriharikota in southern Andhra Pradesh province.
Over 900 years old manuscripts are grabbing attention of the visitors at an ongoing international book festival in India's hill town of Shimla. The festival will continue till June 16th.
Centuries-old manuscripts from Sirmaur and Chopal areas of India's northern Himachal Pradesh province are drawing attention of visitors during an ongoing international book festival in hill town of Shimla. Two scholars at the event were also seen predicting fortune of the curious visitors on Thursday using the manuscripts which has a history of over 900 years. The event is aimed at reviving age-old astrology and has been displaying books from over 30 publications.
हम तो यही प्रार्थना करते हैं क्योंकि मैं भी इसका काम कर रहा हूँ, दादे लोगों ने भी किया है, पर कुछ समय ये थोड़ा बिल्कुल ही ठप हुआ था। अब दोबारा शुरुआत सरकार भी कर रही है, हमें आशा है कि भाई होगा, क्योंकि जैसे कि ये जो यहाँ ये लगा हुआ है ना जी,
सोच में नहीं सकता है। अंक से ही इन्होंने बता दिया कि क्या क्या है। हमने सिर्फ पासा फेंका है, जो अंक आए उसी गिनती से इन्होंने बता दिया कि क्या है, जो एक बिल्कुल नई तरह की विधा है। मैंने तो शायद पहली बार ये देखी है। लानी चाहिए, बहुत अच्छी बात है। सब आम जनता को पता तो लगे कि क्या है, जो विलुप्त हो रही हैं चीज़ें वो तो पता लगे। हमारी नई जनरेशन, हमारे छोटे बच्चे वो तो देखेंगे क्या है, उनको भी तो पता लगे।
Apart from the manuscripts and different books, paintings and culture-related materials are also on display at the event. The festival, which began on June 8th, will conclude on June 16.
India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province is a perfect tourist destination for summers. Scores of tourists are thronging its Srinagar city to beat the scorching heat while also exploring its pristine beauty.
Scores of tourists from across the country are thronging India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province to experience the pleasant weather of the valley. At a time when several parts of the country are reeling under heat wave conditions with temperatures crossing above 40 degrees Celsius, tourists are having a pleasant time enjoying the picturesque beauty and enjoying boat rides in Srinagar city. The famous Dal Lake in Srinagar is integral to tourism and also an important source for commercial operations in fishing and water plant harvesting.
नागपुर में अभी हाईएस्ट टेम्परेचर था 49.55। वहाँ के टेम्परेचर में और यहाँ के टेम्परेचर में बहुत काफ़ी अंतर है और यहाँ बहुत कूल है, सेटिस्फाइंग है एंड इट्स गुड।
यहाँ पे बहुत ही ज़्यादा अच्छा है। हम लोग थर्मल्स पहन के घूम रहे हैं, मतलब जून में थर्मल्स पहनना हमारे लिए बहुत ही नई बात है और यहाँ के लोग भी बड़े बड़े प्यारे हैं।
Tourism is the mainstay of the economy of Kashmir. Its pristine beauty has always attracted hordes of visitors from across India as well as from across the globe. It is amongst the favorite holiday destinations for scarce travelers and adventurous seekers.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian Prime Minister talks tough on terrorism during SCO summit. US says steps by Pakistan against terror groups still reversible. And Sri Lankan Catholics resume prayers at restored church after bombings. Now viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend and good night.